Hey everyone, it's Martin here for Friday's episode of the Daily Sib. Can't believe another week's already flown by. And as promised yesterday, we've got an amazing guest on the show, my good friend and colleague Liz from Disability Horizon. So if the show bring Liz into the interview to say hello.
Hello.
Ta-da!
Thank you for the amazing.
The power of technology.
I
Well, thanks.
say that.
Thank you for joining us, Liz. As a bit like with Chris, really, we talk loads, and so it's not unusual for you and I to have a catch up and a chin wag. But I think it's lovely for the viewers to get to meet you a bit more, because you're a massive part of all of the stuff that goes on with Disability Horizons. You're doing the articles all the time with the team of volunteers and doing all the strategy and the content marketing. So it's awesome for people to get to know a bit more of that, but also just to meet you as a person. So
just because I love pink and floral, basically. That's what people are learning about me right now.
Insight number one, floral and pink lover.
That's all you need to know, really, to be honest.
Well, yeah, so give us a bit of an intro, a bit of backstory as well. It'd be nice for people that haven't come across you before.
So I'm Liz. I've been a journalist now for over 12 years, which is quite scary when you kind of tot up the amount of time. I started journalism in kind of interiors and stuff, so quite kind of fluffy cushions and beautiful homes and that sort of thing. And then about 8 years ago, I moved to Which magazine because I wanted to do something a little bit more kind of serious. And I started out there doing a little bit of everything, so doing stuff on energy, doing stuff on baby and child, all sorts of different things, doing a lot of videos, which was something I'd never done before and I never knew about doing. And then I moved to kind of doing home improvement stuff, so an expansion of doing home things. And yeah, it's only recently, in fact 3 weeks ago, that I decided to go freelance. So as you would probably have guessed, I've been doing Disability Horizons alongside my other jobs. It's been a passion for many years, and yeah, I'd always thought about going freelance, but this was kind of the time to do it. It's been a bit of weird timing because literally as I've gone freelance, coronavirus has hit the world, but it was a chance for me to balance life a little bit more. I have a heart condition, so I have sometimes changing energy levels, but then also so that I could give more time to Disability Horizons, really, because as I say, it's I mean, I've been on the magazine since the beginning, really, so it's lovely to be able to just give more time to it and do more with it. And yeah, so that's a little potted history of me.
That's great. And obviously the journalism background, and you mentioned some of the themes that you worked on at Which, but I know, I was going to say I imagine, but I know that you will have picked up lots of skills and done lots of things that were helpful with some of the things that we do around Disability Horizons in terms of editing and journalism, etc. But it'd be great just to hear a bit more. I mean, again, I know the answer, but like how you got involved in Disability Horizons, what the sort of motivation around disability as opposed to home improvements or other areas, and also kind of how you got involved in the magazine as well.
Yeah, so I did a degree in media studies or media communication. Again, so long ago now, I can't actually remember what the name of the degree was. But within it, we had to do a dissertation of 10,000 words on something. So it could either be like a theatre show, it could be a book, or it could be a magazine. So I went for a magazine, and I did a kind of positive magazine for disabled people. And the reason for that was sort of twofold. One was that my brother had severe disability, so he had a sort of severe form of cerebral palsy, and that meant that he couldn't really talk or walk or kind of even eat, really. But he was literally like the sunniest, most cheerful kind of person that I've ever known, really. So that was a real motivation behind it. The other thing was that, at the time there was a lot of campaigning stuff, quite kind of negative stuff around disability, which of course is absolutely needed, the campaigning back then, and certainly still now. But there just wasn't anything that was, positive or kind of lifestyle. And I think, showing disabled people that, okay, yes, you have a disability, we can't kind of deny that, that's there. But actually, how do you live your life, to the full, and just be normal like everyone else, and go on holiday and have jobs and etc. And that wasn't really around at the time. So when I saw that Martin, you and Sarin had kind of cooked up this idea, I pretty much leapt on it and emailed you both. So obviously with you doing marketing, but Sarin particularly being a lawyer, you didn't necessarily have a kind of journalistic or online background. And actually the majority, I have worked in print, but a lot of what I've done is online. So I just got in contact and said, like, do you need a hand? And I suppose the rest is history, really. I think that was pretty much the beginning. I don't know how long you'd literally launched it. I think it must have only been a couple of months, really.
Yeah, well, Shrin and I went to California in November 2010 when we sort of had the idea and the inspiration, and then I think it launched in April 2011.
Yes.
And it wasn't that long at all. And I remember we met. It sounds very idyllic. We were like by a fountain near. Was it Liverpool Street? Near Liverpool
it was
Street.
really nice. I think Sarin worked around there at the time. I was working at the time as well.
Yeah.
I went for it.
Straight out of a movie, really. So you've already mentioned about the kind of fact that there wasn't much happening in the way of the sort of positive lifestyle stuff, and it's similar to what we were chatting about with Chris. Like how have you seen it as a broader sort of exclusion of disabled people since 2011, but more particularly around Disability Horizon's role in being a support function? How have you seen that change over time?
Yeah, I think it's quite sad in some ways. I think things definitely have changed. I think we've certainly, I would say, maybe last 4 or 5 years, particularly with all the kind of cuts and things in the UK, there just has been less of an opportunity, I think, for disabled people, not everyone, but certain disabled people, to just be able to do those lifestyle things, whether that's because of money, whether that's because of care, various things. So I think I've seen us as a sort of organisation, as a magazine, go more into that kind of campaigning space. And I think that's a good thing. You need to be able to sort of, we're about giving people a voice, and so talking about things that are wrong and that need changing is just as important as the lifestyle stuff. But it does feel that in the last few years there has been more of a tilt towards that, which is a real shame. And I think particularly now, with everything going with coronavirus, but anyway, I think I really want us to do even more towards that sort of positivity and kind of getting back to the sort of root of where we started, and particularly how that loops in with our community, because we've always been, I think, one of our biggest differences, because quite a few more positive magazines have popped up, which has been fantastic to actually see that there's been a need for it and there's been that sort of demand for it. But we've been largely the one that's been an online magazine, and we're, as hopefully our readers know, we are very much based on our community and our readers. A lot of our articles are written by our audience. So, that's such a key thing that I think we need to kind of do even more of. We already do, but do even more of just our community, the positive things they're doing, the great things that they're doing, and practically, if someone's got a problem or a challenge, how do they get over it? How do they live their life how they want to? That's always what the line that we've sort of been built on is, being able to choose how they live their lives. Because I think, unfortunately, in some ways, some choices are taken away from some disabled people, and the choice thing, I think, is a really key element.
Yeah, it's a very hard balance to strike, because I think, as you're saying, at the moment, there's more need in a way to be a positive beacon, and everyone's sort of very bombarded with the news and around the COVID-19 deaths and all of the consequences of that. So I think I agree that it's great we can also start to offer that other side of, for an hour or even for 10 minutes, just to forget about those very horrible, stressful, real things, but you know, to not be on that vibe 24/7. I mean, as sort of COVID-19 goes forward and eventually passes, what are your thoughts on like a year from now? Will there be still a bigger need for the campaign and stuff as a result specifically, or do you think there will be other parts that are still more that lifestyle, or both?
Yeah, I think possibly a balance of both. I mean, I think, you know, the internet had already exploded, but we've seen just even in the last 3 weeks how much more it's exploded even more. And a lot of kind of the people that we talk to and our readers are either they're bloggers themselves, they're writers, they're on kind of social media and video, which is amazing. And we want to kind of help and then harness people to be able to kind of do that even more. So to have sort of their voice out. And I think, you know, coronavirus it's changing the world already as we see it, and I think unfortunately there will be some negative stuff. Sorry, frog in my throat. There will be some negative stuff that comes out at the back of it, and I think there's going to unfortunately be some hard times in a lot of different ways, economically, etc. But I think there's so much positive stuff coming out of it as well. And I know I'm a very optimistic person, but you know, just as a small example, there's so many museums, houses, theatres who, you know, before would possibly be completely inaccessible, to a disabled person, and now they're doing virtual tours, and so people are getting an opportunity to kind of go there and see that. And obviously we don't know if that's going to carry on. I really hope it does. Maybe there's a campaign we could do around that, getting places to still continue to be open for disabled people if they physically can't get there. But you know, I think, as I say, there's going to be so much working out of what kind of comes out of this, but I think there's definitely going to be space for pulling all the good parts out and the positive things and working out how we carry them forward. And yet we can't deny there's still got to be a voice to say if there's something wrong, it needs to change. But it's that balance. And I think my 2 words I would put it on is people and positivity. Like, I think we need to focus even more on our community. It's what we're built on, and we need to kind of show the talents and the brilliance of our audience, and all the positive things that they are doing.
Yeah, no, I very much agree with that. I was thinking, we watched the National Theatre live on YouTube last night, the James Corden production, and you know, since I moved out of London, it's quite, you know, for me to go to London and back in a day, it takes a lot of my energy, and then if my energy is depleted, I'm more risking my catching something in the health side. So it, you know, one way or another, it's harder to just nip to the theatre in London now. But we watched this amazing show from home, and it's not the same as being in the theatre, but if you can't get to the theatre, it's still really cool to have that different experience. And I don't know what the final numbers of you know, viewers, and they were doing like a donation, which I'm gonna donate actually when we finished our call. I'm gonna get that done from last night. I'll be interested what sort of figures of viewers and you know, donations that they got. So I think you're right, there's a lot of innovation and a change of culture that could be quite good.
Absolutely. And I think technology, you know, technology's been a big thing for a while, but I think that's going to kind of come even more into the force. And assistive technology and stuff is so brilliant for so many disabled people in so many different ways. So, you know, there might be so many more innovations and things that come out of it that are positive. So yeah, cool. Tricky times, but could be interesting.
Yeah. Well, we'll wrap up in a sec, but my last question is an opportunity to do a little plug. So if someone hasn't heard of Disability Horizons, what would you say in terms of as a reader, but also the fact that lots of our readers are writers, just that kind of general, if people want to get involved, how can they do that?
Okay, so main thing, as I've said, is about choice and lifestyle. You know, what we kind of want to do is practical stuff to actually really show you how to do something. Let's go on holiday, see, not right now, but you know, holiday, work,
virtual holiday.
Virtual holiday, that's also an option. You know, practical things but also people sharing their experiences, things that they've done, reviews. So if you are not sure of how to do something, or you think that you've got a challenge, you're not sure how to get around it, I think the idea is Disability Horizons is kind of there to do that with our articles, with our community. We have open Facebook group, we have our Twitter, but we've also got a closed Facebook group called D Horizons Tribe. So you can really ask like specific questions to everyone else that's in there. And if you want to be a writer, which would be amazing, just email me, so it's just liz@disabilityhorizons.com. And it could be that you want to write about your personal life. It might be that you want to write about a job. It might be that you want to write about your favourite pet. Whatever it is, just get in touch and we can kind of talk through how to do it. And yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you for that great summary, and hopefully lots of people that, you know, maybe there are people that read the mag but didn't realize that, you know, that's the articles come from the community. They might fancy while they're in self-isolation to write about a past holiday or anything that's going on in their life at the moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, everyone has more time now, so I expect to get lots of submissions of articles and ideas.
Exactly. Brilliant. Well, thanks a lot for your time today, Liz. It was really nice to chat. And everyone watching, I hope you have a lovely weekend. I'm going to have a couple of days off of the Daily Civ, and I'll be back again on Monday. So take care for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.